Congressman Alan Grayson, who's a true progressive, was interviewed by TYT at the recent Democratic debate, and he was asked about Bernie's foreign policy, and he had some interesting thoughts.
Senator Sanders has been criticized for being a one-issue candidate, not being strong on foreign policy. The neocons and even moderate Democrats, when he says let Muslim countries handle it, that's kind of not been the way we do things for the last 30, 40 years. How does he counter that narrative that he's not only about Wall Street, but many other issues?
Look, he recognizes that we wasted $4 trillion on the war in Iraq. He voted against it. He recognizes that over and over and over again, the military-industrial complex has determined our foreign policy in the same way that Wall Street determines our economic policy and that big oil determines our energy policy and our environmental policy. And he says flat out, I'm going to change that. And that's a welcome change. When you realize that we spent 8% of our entire national net worth on a war chasing weapons of mass destruction that never existed in the first place, you realize how screwed up our foreign policy really is. And that's the change that we need. That doesn't make you weak on foreign policy. That makes you strong, and it makes America stronger, too.
Okay, so he's right. And this is something I fall into the trap all the time, and I shouldn't, and it's wrong to. But oftentimes when you're defending President Obama from the attacks from the right, you slip up and you say, as I have, you're calling him weak? How the fuck can you call him weak? He's done interventions in 7 different countries. He's done drone strikes in Pakistan and Yemen and Somalia. We still have a war going on in Afghanistan. We still have a war going on in Iraq, and we're involved in Syria too. So he is immensely hawkish. How dare you call him weak? That's just stupid. But the real response is, you say, yeah, President Obama is weak. And you know who's weaker? All the Republicans. Because you guys want to bomb every single thing in sight. And that means you're scared, you're fearful, and you're little bitches. You know what actually takes strength? What takes strength is resilience and restraint and saying, look, I know when to use force. Now is not the time to use force. What takes strength is standing up to the military-industrial complex and saying, yeah, I know there's billions of dollars on the line here, and a lot of people are making a lot of money, but I'm going to put an end to it. I'm going to make it so that blowing shit up and killing people is not a profitable business anymore. That takes strength. It takes strength to be intelligent about our foreign policy and to say, maybe we shouldn't have 900 military bases. Maybe we shouldn't do that. That takes strength. And for too long, we've bought into this right-wing framing that it's so strong when you bomb defenseless countries and kill civilians and whatnot. That's so strong. We're so macho. That's not macho. That's a bully on a playground. That's what that is. And furthermore, the American people don't want this. The American people, look at the polling data. I love when we were first talking about going into Syria, when it was President Obama, I drew a red line with Assad and we got to take out Assad. Whoops, look at that. The rebels are almost all jihadists. I guess now we turn Syria into Jihadistan. My bad. But when he was saying then we got to go into Syria, the American people were like, huh? They did polling on it. It was like 17% or some amazingly low number of people that were like, yeah, let's go in. Isn't that incredible? So over 80% of people were like, no, why would we do that? Okay, we know what the American people want. We know what the democratic will of the people is. We know that there is no direct threat to the nation right now. Why the fuck would we get involved? It is strength to show restraint. It's strength to be intelligent about this stuff. Now, don't get me wrong. If there's a genocide going on somewhere, and it's super clear that it's not just a civil war, but it's a genocide and one side is armed and they're massacring civilians and slaughtering civilians, well, in that case, I agree that the UN should get involved and do something to prevent further devastation and further mass killing. Of course. But the question here is, what should the U.S. military do alone? When should we use our strength? And the answer to that, to me, is self-defense. Anything other than self-defense, and you're the one that's literally on offense, and that makes you the aggressor, and that makes you the bad guy. So let's not do that, And that's the strong thing to do. That's the intelligent thing to do. And we need to redefine this entire conversation. Alan Grayson is 100% right. Bernie Sanders is the one who's strong, and Hillary Clinton, Obama, and all the Republicans are weak.